saw this. This got put out 2 months ago. Apparently, in New York, at least one or possibly multiple McDonald's are banning anyone under the age of 20 from going to McDonald's. And I'm kind of curious if it's for the same reason, and we might get some better detail on what is transpiring that is causing this. And I want to see if this is going to lend credence to the theory I had when we were discussing this case like last week or the week before with the Virginia McDonald's. So let's take a look.
Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video.
Well,
no, it's not Echelon.
Owner of a McDonald's says that he is tired of unruly young people terrorizing his restaurant, and now he's forcing customers to show their ID to get inside, and anyone under the age of 20.
So one McDonald's has started carding people to try and limit gang activity, but it's not the only location in town reeling from an increase in crime. Some restaurants have rolled out security guards to keep the bad guys from coming inside and enjoying their own version of a Happy Meal, while others are barely hanging on as they display the visible signs of a society that's collapsing all around them. Kinda like this one right behind me.
Most customers say the age restriction is a good thing, and so are the 3 security guards posted.
Let's see, no one under the age of, I'm guessing it's 20 at Laden Restaurant without a parent and proper identification. With the security guard standing right here. There's literally a security guard standing right fucking here. Wow. That's bad. This is fucking hell.
At the entrances because teenagers from nearby high schools have turned the fast food restaurant into a local fight club.
McDonald's locations are all too often the...
I live in NYC. NYC is cooked.
This is what I have heard, Canito. I've heard that from a couple different sources. Yeah.
The scene of violent crimes, and both the victims and perpetrators can often be young.
They were panicking. Yeah. Some of the guys were calling somebody were calling 911, and then like in a few minutes, the police came.
I don't know why people pick this as their fight location, but it's unfair. They're crazy in this McDonald's, and they do too much. They jump people, jump delivery workers, jump the security.
They snatch your stuff. They're cussing like a sailor. You can't turn around and say nothing to them. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know when to shut your mouth.
The teens add they're used to being ID'd since the target around the corner.
Yeah, and that old woman was saying, you know why she was saying you can't say anything to them? Because these fucking animals, if you say something to them, they'll beat the shit out of you. You think this poor old woman would have any hope of defending herself against like an 18-year-old thug? That when she looks at him and says, "Young man, you need to stop with that language," and he just decides, "Fuck you, bitch," and decides to knock her the fuck out, you think she'll be able to defend herself? No! She could get, like, an 18-year-old with his fists could seriously injure a woman her age. And literally, the fear is if you say something, they will just attack you. Possibly fucking en masse. Why? Because they're not charging them. They're not charging these people with crimes. They're not receiving punishment. And that's why they're doing it. If there's ever a question, why are these people doing this? Why are there so many young people in New York City that are just doing all of this? The answer is dirt fucking simple. They don't receive punishment. They think, and they are justified in this thought process, that they can do anything they want without consequence. And so why would they stop if doing shit like this results in nothing happening to them? All it teaches them is, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Nothing gonna happen.
Corner also doesn't allow those under 18 in without an adult.
Police have been called to this location 29 times this year. 29 times. And it's not even March yet.
Look!
Crime in New York is now so bad that soon regular businesses could all have to start checking ID. But what nobody's talking about is that many McDonald's in this city have become problematic hotspots for crime, and it's been that way for a long time, and the problems in these stores mirror what's going on in our subway system. However, this isn't the fault of the brand or the majority of law-abiding McDonald's customers, or even the store employees who are on the front lines of New York City's losing battle against street crime, which unfortunately manifests itself in a variety of ways. We're talking
Did that just say workers? S-aid? But that could be does that say S-A or stand? I mean, I can't tell with the blur. But, yeah, look, either way, it's fucking horrific.
Of ways. We're talking crazed maniacs who try to jump the counter, gangs who use these places as target practice, and the former governor of New York, David Paterson, was even attacked in front of a McDonald's this past summer. But while the company is doing everything it can to limit how close its employees actually need to get to customers with things like app-based technology and touch-style ordering kiosks, danger still works its way into the front door of some of these locations. Which brings us to the real reason these places are both hotspots for crime and magnets for gang activity. They're located in a city that would rather enable its criminals than punish them, which became frighteningly obvious last fall when a McDonald's in Manhattan's exclusive Upper West Side was overrun by gang members during a street fight, causing that entire restaurant to be evacuated with customers leaving their half-eaten meals behind.
Oh my God.
As you're about to see, a bunch of these places have crime problems that are so bad, checking ID won't stop them.
No, it won't. It won't! Do you have any idea how prevalent fake IDs are in a city like New York? Do you really think that, oh, you have to present ID? The moment you did that, all of these little fucking hellions immediately went to their local dealer and said, cool, you got a fake ID for me? And they instantly all went and probably got fake fucking IDs because these types of dealers keep these fucking things in stock, in bulk. And so they instantly just went and got a fucking fake ID. And let us not forget, the thugs and the gangbangers aren't just under 20 years old. Okay? It's not just under 20-year-olds that are doing this. It's over 20-year-olds too. And this is all going to be leading up to one logical outcome. And I'm going to save it to the end of the video just in case he talks about it during this.
What is up with the orange juice here? Why is it so concentrated? I actually like it. It's full of sugar. But I will tell you, while I feel safe hanging out inside this McDonald's, the other one I was at earlier, there is something going on with...
You know the old saying, you give an inch, they will take a mile.
Yeah. Yep, you're right, Jersey. The problem is, they're not giving an inch. They're giving a fucking football field's worth of distance. Like, this isn't even like, okay, they're getting punished, but they're getting punished lightly. They're not getting punished at all.
While I feel safe hanging out inside this McDonald's, the other one I was at earlier, there is something going on with that place. I always see people selling stuff to each other, doing something outside or inside. There's people sleeping all over the place.
Oh, 100%. 100% these guys right here are dealing. 100% these guys are dealing. Guarantee. This guy especially. This guy's the handoff guy. One of these guys is probably the money guy. Because otherwise he wouldn't be standing there with his hands inside his vest. With his hands down, arms inside the vest, hands down the pants. These guys are fucking dealing right now. Probably crack, but these guys, all four of these guys are dealing. I will bet a month's stream wages on that. They are all fucking dealing.
Or inside, there's people sleeping all over the place, and they're adults, so carting them won't keep them out.
one McDonald's in Brooklyn is barring anyone under the age of 20 from entering their restaurant without an accompanying adult.
A sign went up on the door announcing the policy change last week, and it comes after several incidents at that location.
So this particular location in Brooklyn, I've been there. It's by a whole bunch of schools, and it is kind of a rowdy location, but apparently their main problem is with large gangs of teenagers congregating inside the store, and they're not the only business with this problem. The Target nearby that location's also started carding people, and there are some malls in this city that won't allow anybody in without a parent if they're under 18 either. But before we get into why that particular location is so dangerous and why some of the other locations in town have such extreme problems, it's important to...
RPX, I hate to say it, but that has been a common thing I've been hearing. The unsub guys have talked about this, that major cities that had very strict gun laws and high crime rates, the minute that they relaxed the gun laws, particularly carry laws, to allow the average citizen to carry a firearm, the crime rate just plummeted. There was probably an initial burst of, as you put it, RPX, like self-defense shootings. There was probably an initial spike of it, but then once the criminals realized that anybody they could be trying to jack up could be armed and could give them a forcible lead injection, they backed out. So, I mean, cause and effect. Look at the statistics. It is fucking pointless right now to basically have these strict gun laws and say, oh, we don't want anybody to carry guns, when the fact is, the people that actually are good citizens and will actually try to follow the law, you're just creating, this, and I'm not going to go the route of like the government's trying to disarm you so they can rule over you. No, I'm not even going there. But when you have an unarmed society, you have a victim society. Because in case it is not obvious, the criminals don't fucking care about the laws. That's kind of why they're fucking criminals. Because they don't give a fuck about the laws. So you're basically just creating a populace of victims. The moment you give people the means to defend themselves, you're gonna see a drop in crime. You will see that drop in crime.
Understand how insane it is that a store has to ban its own customers in order to keep its doors open. Because that right there is the problem that underpins every single issue these stores are having. For example, the Upper West Side McDonald's that was taken over by gangs on Halloween after weapons were used just outside the restaurant. It's in an area where there were never any police, but where there was lots of gang activity taking place. And since the city won't stop the gang activity, it sometimes makes its way inside these places. And as you're about to see, there are some
and again, we saw it again. Guarantee these fucking guys are dealing. These guys right here, I guarantee they're fucking dealing. You see a guy with his arms, you're inside, motherfucker. Even if it's cold outside, there's heat in this building. There's no reason for you to be huddled inside your little vest. You only do this when you're dealing. Either he's basically giving himself easy access for the drugs down his pants, he's holding a weapon, or it's a signal. This is a signal to buyers that he's open for business. One of the three, if not a combination of them. Mike, I don't know yet. I have not heard anything as of yet, other than that they supposedly brought in an outside investigator to look at things, which I believe Nick has said a few words about.
Activity, it sometimes makes its way inside these places. And as you're about to see, there are some instances where checking ID won't do anything to stop even people who are under 18 from taking over these restaurants.
Yep.
He says there were about 5 or 6 people running toward the McDonald's.
They were panicking. Yeah. Some of the guys were calling somebody were calling 911, and then like in a few minutes,
The police came. The police and...
So that right there is the aftermath of a street fight that took place outside of a McDonald's in what many would consider to be a nice neighborhood that then made its way inside the very store, forcing everyone there to leave and the police and an ambulance to arrive. And when armed felons are charging into your business, I'm not really sure what 1 or 2 security guards checking ID are going to be able to do about that.
Because what are the security guards going to be able to do in the first place? Security guards are notoriously neutered in terms of being able to do their job. The vast majority of security guards, all they can do is say, hey, leave. And if the person that they tell to leave looks at the security guard, goes, hey, fuck off, and just doesn't listen, the security guard can't do anything other than call the police. That's the only recourse. Security guards cannot lay hands on anybody. The security guards cannot stop a crime from taking place. The majority of them. All they're told, they're told to observe and report, and that's it. They're basically just kind of like an early alarm system. That's it. That's all they are. They're basically a biological alarm system. Why the fuck do you even have them in the first place? They do not do anything. Literally. What do you want to bet that if you are a security guard in a business that is targeted by a criminal with violent intentions, who do you think the first target's going to be? The guy with the giant security emblazoned upon their shirt or jacket. They are going to be the first fucking target. And these guys can do absolutely nothing to defend themselves. Honestly, I'm shocked that these security companies are even still in business. I'm shocked that anybody actually is willing to work for them. For the danger that they have to put themselves into to literally just function as a biological alarm system. And that's it. With no protection whatsoever. And you get in trouble for any proactiveness that you do. Honestly, I don't know how these companies are still in business. I don't know how they're able to find employees.
However, having security in these places is almost a necessity in such a high-crime city, because the last thing you want is for gangs to be congregating and plotting from inside the very restaurant. That's just going to act as a magnet for more criminal activity. And you certainly don't want people selling things that are illegal in these places either.
But
and
they
that
do.
right there is the big problem that a lot of the places in the area I'm in are experiencing.
But most customers say the age restriction is a good thing, and so are the 3 security guards posted at the entrances, because teenagers from nearby high schools have turned the fast food restaurant into a local fight club.
So, it's a good thing that you have to basically turn your fast food restaurant into a quasi-prison that has to have security patrolling its interior, and anyone that has to get in has to be ID'd. That's your idea of a good thing? Motherfucker, you are fucking brain rotted if you think that it's a good thing that a fucking McDonald's has to have at least the paper-thin appearance of bank security. That is fucking pathetic. So anybody that thinks that is pathetic that they think that way. And it also showcases just how fucking out of control the city is. That you're going, oh, it's a good thing that I have absolutely useless security guards walking around in my McDonald's and that I have to show my ID in order to get in the first place.
I don't know why people pick this as their fight location, but it's unfair.
So what's really unfair is that since we don't have law and order in this city, it's up to McDonald's to police itself, and it's up to customers inside these places to watch their backs. And if you thought McDonald's prices were too high, think of what a local restaurant's gonna have to charge if they have to hire a security team. Those security guards' paychecks are coming out of the pockets of the customers.
Look at all of the fucking
security
glass.
team. Those security.
Look at this. Look at all of the security glass that they've had to put at their counters. Just look at this. They have a little hole for someone to push their food through. And otherwise, it's all glass. Well, plexiglass, true, Victor. It's plexiglass, but it's still a barrier. Well, these bars are not meant to stop. These are just like support bars, that's all. This is pathetic. This is just absolutely pathetic that the McDonald's in New York City have had to go to this route. Like, seriously, why is McDonald's cannot be making enough money to substantiate having to put in this level of security to hire the security. They cannot be making enough business to substantiate this. They can't.
Security guards' paychecks are coming out of the pockets of the customers, and it just creates a ripple effect. First, the store has to charge more money to keep itself secure, and after the amount of money that it charges goes up, the second thing that happens is less people are going to shop there, eat there, you know what I mean? And as less people come in the doors, the store's going to have to get more lax with who it lets in, and then the criminal element out on our streets is going to find its way inside.
It's a perpetuating cycle.
It's a losing battle that our businesses are fighting, and they're not equipped to fight this battle alone. They should be getting help from the city, but they're not. And as you're about to see, just putting on the outfit of a security guard and going to one of these places, that right there could make you a target for criminals who fear nothing.
They're crazy in this McDonald's, and they do too much. They jump people, jump delivery workers, jump the security.
Some point out the children need a place to congregate and after-school options. And locals tell Fox 5 a new recreation center should be opening soon. But NYPD...
Okay, so if the people...
Today, that new recreation center that's opening soon, that's going to turn into a shithole in no time flat. The moment they open up a new recreation center, guess where all the thugs, the bangers, the dealers, guess where they're all going? They will turn that recreation center into a hovel in record fucking time. Guaranteed.
People in the McDonald's are jumping the security guard. I'm not sure they're going to qualify on a behavioral level to be allowed into whatever rec center we need to stop gang activity from happening. And to be honest with you, this isn't really an access to resources problem, even though that's how local progressives want to spin it. Here in Midtown, they blame every problem making its way from the streets into our businesses on a lack of resources. Not enough rec centers, not enough after-school programs, not enough treatment facilities, not enough outreach workers. But here, in an area of town that has a notorious crime problem, you have a plethora of treatment facilities all down the street from stores like the one I'm sitting in right now, which locals say just act as a magnet for criminal activity. And that's because if you're going to give out free resources, but you're not going to also give out consequences for dangerous, disruptive behavior, those resources are just going to enable more of that behavior. And the crime problems you've got are just going to get worse. Today's stories reveal that we live in a world that is out to get us from the very moment we wake up and open up our smart devices. Which is why I'm excited to tell you about today's video sponsor, Surfshark. Because online security starts with a VPN, a virtual private network, which allows you to safely and privately access the web on an unlimited number of devices. Because everyone is spying on you, including your internet service provider, who may be selling off your personal information. And with so many unmonitored, unsafe places like random coffee shops and even the New York City subway offering free Wi-Fi, you'll want to protect yourself from people who are trying to intercept your banking credentials. And the best part about Surfshark is that a single subscription works simultaneously on multiple devices and protects your entire household. Plus, Surfshark comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can see how well it works for yourself.
That seems to be the prevalent thought process, Canito, honestly.
Every ThinkPad running Linux. Why do I still have this? And why don't you have Surfshark? Head over to surfshark.com/cashflow
ThinkPads are good computers.
4 extra months of Surfshark. So here we are inside Penn Station, the scene of an ongoing humanitarian crisis beneath the streets that we were just standing on. And critics say part of the reason for that is because people are allowed to engage in what...
Thank you, Bogeties. Thank you so much. And good night, Wraith. Have a wonderful night.
we were just standing on. And critics say part of the reason for that is because people are allowed to engage in whatever type of criminal behavior they want in a public setting and absolutely nothing ever happens to them. Plus, this is a neighborhood with tons of resources available for free, which are here to supposedly help people. And if you're gonna let people be criminals while giving them free resources, that's just gonna enable the criminal lifestyle they've decided to engage in. And this isn't limited to just what you see going on down here. Oh no.
They're reckless and as ruthless of a crew as we've seen.
And they're young, some as young as 11 years old. Police say they first targeted
Fucking
Central
hell.
Park this summer, and now Times Square is their playground.
So here we have a gang of teenagers who live in one of the city's asylum shelters. Now, they get to live there for free, and their ability to live there is not in jeopardy if they use that place as a facility to plan and commit crime all over town, which is what they're doing as members of a very dangerous gang. But in...
Again, we see, like, this is what happens when somebody doesn't have consequences. If you want to have the whole sanctuary thing, okay, and I'm not gonna commentate on whether or not the whole sanctuary city thing is good or bad. I'm not gonna comment on that. But if you're gonna have this setup for, you know, a sanctuary for migrants, then they need to abide by the laws of the land that they are residing in. And it needs to have consequences. You fuck around, get the fuck out. It's literally that fucking simple. If you're not going to hold them to the same level of accountability, or worse, than the citizenry of the people who are citizens of that country, I'm sorry, you done fucked up. Like, if you are a migrant that goes to another country, particularly if you are going in as, like, for sanctuary, like you are trying to go to this country because it is a safe haven for you compared to where you used to live. By all rights, you as that person should be more inclined to follow the rules so you don't get kicked out. And for people in these, you know, temporary migrant housing for sanctuary should be held to a higher standard. They should be. Like, they have the consequence of, okay, you're coming into this country. You wish to live in this country. We are going to give you a chance. You fuck up, i.e. these kids doing gang shit, you're back to where you came from. I'm sorry. That's just how it fucking works. And I said I'm sorry, but I'm not. It's just, that's how it should fucking work. If you're going to come to a country specifically to be a fucking criminal, then that country should boot your ass right out. Seriously. There's no excuse why they shouldn't. You know, we can talk about immigration and how people come to the United States because they're looking for better lives. And I'm very aware that the majority of people that migrate to the United States through whichever means is done is doing so because they want to live a better life, because their home country is a shithole and they want to go to the United States and make a better life for themselves. And when they do get to the United States, they live good, quiet, peaceful lives. They are good. They're, you know, a good majority of them follow the rules. They want to contribute to society. They want to contribute to their neighborhoods, and they are good, decent people. It's not all of them, no. And I don't care if they are a migrant. If you fuck around, you need to find out. Because again, if there's no punishment, why would they ever even consider stopping doing anything that is illegal, immoral, and just flat out fucking wrong if they don't receive consequence? Chat, if you could, I'll pose a question. Even though I know what you guys are going to say, I will still pose this question. If any one of you could right now walk into a bank, walk into the vault, metaphorically speaking, of course, and just exit with $1 million, and not a fucking thing would happen to you, how many of you would even hesitate for a second to go back the next day and grab another 100 million? How many of you would hesitate even for a second to do that? Not one of you. No pleading the fifth, Matt. This is all speculative. Yeah. Like, forget morality, okay? We're going in the assumption that you as an individual are not a moral person, okay? Just for the sake of example. I know you all are, but for the sake of this example, pretending you do not have the morals and scruples that you possess, and you can go into a bank, walk out with $1 million that is not your money, and nothing fucking happens. And you go back the next day and do it again. And then you go back the next day and do it again. But RPX, you're going on the assumption, what luck? If you receive absolutely zero punishment for it, where is the incentive not to do it again? If there is not even a hint of punishment for doing something like that, you would not hesitate to do it again and again and again. Because there's no threat of punishment. There's no incentive against doing it. And if you don't have an incentive to not commit a crime, to not be a complete shitbag, you're going to do it over and over and over and over again because no one's going to stop you. And it's widely known that no one is going to stop you. The city has publicly said, we're not going to stop you. Why are they going to stop that? You're not going to appeal to their good moral character because they don't fucking have good moral character. So what's fucking left? Until people like this actually receive punishment for what they fucking do, it's going to keep going. Again and again and again. And as I said, I know what's going to happen with these businesses before too long, but I'm saving it for the end in 5 minutes.
In New York, we passed a law called Raise the Age, and what it says is that people aren't criminals even if they commit crime if they're under 18. And that's why you've got an unstoppable crime problem in Midtown. That's why you've got an unstoppable crime problem at some McDonald's that now have to ban teenagers. That's the only way to stop the problem, because people can be inside a McDonald's or out on the streets, do whatever they want, get transferred to the back of a police car, and then they get released back to whoever their guardian is. And while local progressives love to talk about how these laws keep good kids out of jail and out of a life of crime, on the other hand, these laws just enable criminals to do the same thing over and over again. Which is bad, because practice just hardens and trains criminals, teaching them how to engage with law enforcement and how to evade arrest next time. Because if nothing is going to stop someone from committing unlimited amounts of crime, there will always be a next time.
There we go.
Nearly 30 911 calls to this location in this young year, which is set to exceed the past 3 years, during which more than 100 911 calls were made for this location every year. And with that, the new
So 911 calls to the McDonald's full of teenage gang members have tripled. Is anyone really surprised, knowing what we now know about how this city operates? And if no law exists to stop someone from engaging in criminal behavior when they're under the age of 18 and terrorizing people, the only way to keep them out is to just ban them from coming in the first place. Make that against the law.
And that's
that
not gonna
is a
work.
shame, because if a police car and jail time don't exist as a final consequence of bad behavior, society just ends up paying the price. Now our restaurants become less convenient. Now our streets become less safe. All because we've decided that a criminal element destroying society should be allowed to keep on doing so in the name of social justice. And the only time people ever get punished in a society like this is when they do something really bad and somebody suffers irreparable harm. Is that really the kind of society that we want? Because that's the kind of society we're getting. It's the kind of society we have right now. And nobody's taking what is a massive problem seriously enough here.
They snatch your stuff. Cussing like a sailor. You understand? You can't turn around and say nothing to them.
No, because they'll knock her out.
You gotta know when to shut your mouth.
So the law-abiding are suffering.
These people, these thugs, these gang members are literally scaring the citizenry into silence. Because the citizenry knows if they stand up for themselves, they might die. And the police will not do a fucking thing about it. This is what the citizenry of New York City are being taught. They cannot stand up for themselves. They cannot defend themselves because the gangbangers will literally have no compunction about laying you the fuck out, stabbing you, shooting you, God knows what, and you cannot rely upon the police at all. Yes, Crimson, that the police might actually arrest the victim. We've heard about it happening. This is what is happening with the citizenry in this city. You literally have a population of victims all lined up for the criminals. The city has literally delivered the criminals their victims.
From a lack of laws, none of the stuff that people are upset about is a crime in the eyes of our
Tornado,
legal
it happens.
system. And if you think standing up to these thugs yourself is a good idea,
Here we go.
all know of one guy who almost had his life.
Here we go. Daniel Pay received prestigious award from Marine Corps League at Iwo Jima.
Destroyed by this city when he stood up to somebody who threatened others in a public setting. And you'd be stupid to think that same fate doesn't await you or anyone who wants to stand up to teenagers who aren't even criminals as far as our society's concerned. And everyone in this city knows that if you get into an altercation in a place like McDonald's or on the train or on the street, your best bet is to just surrender. And if you've got a crime problem in your business, the only solution to it is to ban people who are too young to be considered felons. Otherwise, keeping your doors open to everybody just makes your business a place where criminal activity could explode at any moment.
But it's not entirely
And it
clear
still will.
how the
This is not going to stop it either. This will not stop it. By banning people under 20 years old, this is not going to stop the problem. It's barely going to slow it down. Barely. This is not a solution. Like, for McDonald's, for Target, for all these businesses that are saying under 20 can't come in, this isn't a fix. And I know what the fix is going to be.
age restriction is being enforced. These high school students walked right in. The security guard even held the door for them.
I mean, we do look like we're probably going to go get food. It's kind of odd that you're like, oh, you got to be 20, and then I walked right in.
They had it as 18 at first, and now they put it up to 20 in Brooklyn.
So this store
my
right
God.
here, it's got cameras all over the place. All of these stores do. And you know what? Whoever runs that McDonald's that's carding people, they know who the criminals are that are heading into their store causing trouble. And of course, they want as much business as they can get. And they're not going to deny regular customers who aren't troublemakers or people who don't appear threatening. And of course, once this works and the security guards let all the nice people in and keep the bad actors out, some progressive lawmaker is going to put a stop to it right away because it's working. And as our streets continue to get more dangerous and our laws continue allowing petty criminals unlimited second chances at places like McDonald's, local businesses are just going to have to be creative if they want to exist in a society that's falling apart. Because it doesn't look like we're headed in a direction where the problems happening in our public spaces are ever going to be the city's problem. And as obviously bad as things are right now, it seems like this trend is going to continue until the people who have to live with this on a daily basis realize it and start voting against it. What do you think about that? Are New York City's laws the reason we've got a crime problem here, the reason we've got gang problems inside our McDonald's? And what do you think the proper solution to stopping it is? Should people go to jail? Or are unlimited second chances too few? Should we figure out a way to give people more second chances? Maybe that'll fix it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.
Honestly, a good solution for these criminals? Go back to the old ways of, you have a choice. You can either go to jail or you can do 3 or 4 years of military service. Seriously. Why not bring that into play? You get these criminals, you get these thugs, you get these gangbangers, they commit a crime, they go in front of the judge says, cool, you got an option. 4 years in prison or 4 years in the military. And at the same time, take the fucking leash off the drill sergeants in the military. Let the drill sergeants do what drill sergeants are trained to fucking do. And then you take these thugs that want to be Billy Badasses and you stick them in the military and you give them mandatory 4 years of military service. No, RPX? I do, because you know what they're going to get in addition to military training? They're going to get military discipline. They're going to get the military mentality. They're going to get the sense of community and family and brotherhood that they're not going to get from the gangs. And they're good, and more often than not, you're going to get these guys realizing, holy shit, This is what actual family is. This is what actual brotherhood is. It's not going to work for all of them. I'm not saying it will, but it's going to work for a lot of them. And they'll actually also know consequences. Because in the military, if you fuck up, especially outside of boot, the boys in the military, particularly the Marines, they're not going to hesitate to beat the ever-living fuck out of you if you step out of line. So, yeah, bring that shit back. Actually teach them discipline. Actually teach them what honor is. Because that's what you will learn in the military. That's number one. The number two, the final solution that I was talking about, I'd call it the final solution, but you want to know want to know where we're headed with these businesses where they're carding people just to get in? You know the direction we're going with them? No more in-house dining. That is the direction that we are going. We are going the direction of McDonald's will no longer have in-restaurant dining. It will be takeaway only with just a window. No dining whatsoever. Takeaway only or drive-through if there's a drive-through available. Or they'll shut down entirely, and places like Target will basically turn into warehouses where it's online shopping only, and there'll just be a pickup window for you to get your shit that you bought from Target. That is what is going to happen with these businesses. Like saying under 20 can't come in and you're going to be carded, that's not a solution because the problem is still going to exist. We are going to it would not surprise me if we see McDonald's and businesses like Target remove their in-house facilities, remove the dining, remove the interior shopping, and basically just have service windows out on the street. And that's it. That's all there is. And you basically have to order online, go in, and pick the shit up. That's the direction this is going. Because the solutions they have don't work. And if the laws don't change, if the application of the laws don't change, these businesses are going to have no choice but to either go to this route or close the fuck down. Yeah, basically, War God. Yeah, turn the stores into what Little Caesars does. No dining, small little vestibule where they go in and there's a cash register, they pick their shit up and leave. Yep, that's the route that they're going to go, I think. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Thank you, Duran. And that's my cue that we need to move on to something fun.